Good morning, students. So today we will start one new chapter, probability. है ना? In the class 9th and 10th already you have studied about probability. है ना? Many times in our daily life we say that today clouds are very dark, है ना? Black. So there may be rain. है ना? We say that today 100% rain will be there. है ना? In one exam, after giving paper है ना, we say that in this paper I will get 70% marks है ना, 70 marks I will get at least. So what we are giving, we don't know that 70 marks will get or not, but we are assigning a number, we are giving measure of uncertainty. We don't know what will happen, but है ना, we are giving a number. So simple meaning of probability is measure of uncertainty. मेजर ऑफ अनसर्टेनिटी, जो होना नहीं है, क्या होगा हमको नहीं पता, बट वी आर गिविंग वन नंबर, वी आर गिविंग वन नंबर, वी आर असाइनिंग वन नंबर फॉर अनसर्टेनिटी. सो दैट इज आवर प्रोबेबिलिटी, है ना. सो इन क्लास 9th वी हैव सीन दैट सम डाटा इज गिवन, है ना, एंड फ्रॉम द बेस ऑफ दैट डाटा वी फाइंड प्रोबेबिलिटी. सो दैट इज कॉल्ड statistical approach of probability. Then in class 10th we found that probability by using favorable outcomes, ratio of favorable outcomes to the ratio of total outcomes. So this approach is called classical theory of probability. ठीक है, but these two are not sufficient to find probability for all the events. So this year in this class 11th we will see axiomatic approach of probability. So for that we need some terms, that is random experiment. Random experiment, ठीक है. Now what is random experiment? In our science, है ना, either physics or chemistry, bio, है ना, we have some fixed result, है ना. H2 and O2 will give always water only, है ना. So है ना, today H2O2 if we combine that we get water in the morning, and then in the evening something else will get, will not like this. Every time H2O2 will give you water only, ठीक है. And sometime when we don't know what will be the result, result is not fixed, result is we cannot predict the result, what will be result, है ना. If you are playing cricket, है ना, you are batsman, है ना, you are doing batting, है ना, then you are facing a ball, what will happen, can you predict? Maybe 1 run, maybe 2 runs, maybe 4, maybe 6, maybe you cannot, we cannot predict, ठीक है. So the experiment whose result is not predict, we cannot predict, that is called random experiment. So for any experiment to be random experiment, two things should be there. It should have more than one result. There should be more than one result. What will happen, है ना. So there should be possibilities more than one, ठीक है. If we have more than one possibility, then it can be random experiment. Then second thing, we cannot predict the result, what can happen, we don't know, we cannot predict. So these two things are important for any experiment to be random experiment, where there should be more than one result and result cannot be predict. If these two things we are having for any experiment, then it is called random experiment, ठीक है. If you toss a coin, what will happen, what will come, can we predict? Now we know that result will be either head or tail, but we cannot say exactly that head will come, ठीक है. There are more than two outcomes or more than one outcomes, there is head, there can be head or can be tail also. So there are more than one outcomes and we cannot predict. So tossing a coin is a random experiment. If all the students of your class, है ना, if you write their names on the slips, on sheet, and we keep all the chits and the slips in a box. From that box, if we take one, whose name will come? Can we predict? No. Okay, and then how many results will be there out? So if you predict, if you take one slip, what will happen? Name of any can come. So there can be more than one result. So more than one result should be there, and we cannot predict the result. If we two things we have, then experiment is called random experiment. Check. So now then outcomes. So all the possible results for any random experiment are called outcomes. Okay? What is outcome? What are outcomes? All the possible results are called outcomes. And when we toss a coin, what are the possible outcomes? Possible results? Either head will come or tail will come. So head or tail. If H for head, T for tail we are taking. So these are the two possible results. So these are called outcomes for random experiment of tossing a coin. Okay? Then sample space. So the set, suppose S, we denote set S. What? Set of all possible outcomes for any random experiment. Suppose if we toss a coin once, so the outcomes are head and tail. So we write this head and tail in a set form. So this is called sample space for experiment tossing a coin once. This is our sample space. So if we write all the possible outcomes in the set form, then that set is called sample space. And these outcomes are called sample point. Okay? All outcomes are sample points. So this sample space has two sample points. Okay? Random experiment, outcomes, sample space and sample points. Check. If an experiment has more than one result and we cannot predict the result, then it is called random experiment. Tossing a coin, tossing a die, and if we throw a dice, then what will happen? There can be 1, can be 2, can be 3, can be 4, 5 or 6. We cannot say. So result we cannot predict, and there are more than one result. So tossing a die is also a random experiment. Outcomes means possible results. For any experiment, random experiment, what are the outcomes, possible outcomes? So that are called outcomes. Possible results are called outcomes. Then sample space. So if we write all the possible results, means outcomes, in a set form, so that we say sample space for that experiment. Then its elements are called sample points. So these things are very important for axiomatic approach of probability. Check it. Just note down.